you're good. That we saved the best till last. We have.
Oh, good. So first, I want to know, when did James pull out of the fight? Because I'm trying to figure out when, like, how long you've had notice of a new opponent.
Yeah, about 6 weeks. Yeah, so what I mean by that is not 6 weeks ago. I just mean from fight night. It's going to be 6 weeks that I found out the name has changed, and yeah, frankly, I'm quite annoyed about it. I don't know if he's broken arm or if he's broken nail. I don't have a clue. At the end of the day, though, it's kind of taken the wind out of my sails a little bit. Obviously, with James being such a big name and a high-profile fighter, and with me being, at the end of the day, you just got to look at my record to see that I fought the who's who as well. It was a good fight, so I'm annoyed for that reason. Obviously, these things happen in this game. It's just I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed about it that I've had 4 fights with this promotion, and I've had pullouts in 3 scheduled fights. So yeah, it's been very, very tough. Like, at the end of the day, though, I can only control what I can do. I've had 4 contracts be sent to me, and all 4 of them I've turned up for the dates. So I'm sure Bellator will look at that and say, like, oh, look, this guy, when he signs the contract, he's turning up, and I'm going to continue to honor my word and do that. So yeah, we got a new opponent, Jordan Winski, a really tough American fighter, and it's just as tough as the James Gallagher fight. I don't know why we all look at this sort of stigma that certain fights are easy and certain fights are hard, but we're professional fighters fighting at a professional level. I think every fight's quite tough, but look, we're prepared for it. My coaches, Richard Shaw, Carl Parker, Dan Wilson, we've gone through it with a Nick Coleman. We've seen what his tendencies are. We've seen what he's really good at doing, what he's not so good at doing. But yeah, we're happy with the matchup.
So when you first got the name James, did you kind of already anticipate he wasn't going to show up? Because I mean, no diss to him, but it's been a while since he's fought, and there's always something coming up. So was that a little bit in the back of your mind, like I don't want to get too excited? Or
I think I was the only person in my gym who didn't feel like that. Yeah. Everybody else in the gym was saying. I remember one of the guys, I won't say his name, but every single time I saw him, every session, he'd go, "Oh, the fight's still on then?" I go, yeah. And he'd go, "Okay." And then next week he'd go, "The fight's still on then?" I go, "Yeah." And he'd go, okay. And then obviously the inevitable happened. And he went, "Fight's still on?" I went, "No." And he goes, "Told you." So like everybody kind of had their anticipation. And for me being a fighter, that's kind of frustrating. If you're like not I'm giving it advice to James or anything, but he's starting to be known as a bit of a pull-up merchant now, and that's going to start to frustrate some people. And look, I'm frustrated. The injuries happen in this game, and I'm not going to kind of go into him about the fact he's not injured or whatever, but he's doing things wrong in camp if he's pulling out all the time. That's 2 adds 4. It is what it is. But I'm not going to forget about that fight. That's the fight I want, and I'm going to have that fight one way or another, But put it this way, I was prepared to come out to Ireland. I was prepared to face that crowd and be the bad guy of that story on that night. I was prepared for that. Well, he's pulled out. I'm still fighting for the Irish people. I'm still there. I'm still turning up and putting the performance in. So if they do reschedule our fight, it ain't going to be on his terms. It's going to be my terms. I want Bellator to come to Wales for the first time ever. I want me and Gallagher to be main event, and I want it to be in my hometown in Swansea. And I think we're able to do that. There's a brand new arena there waiting for us to get in there and put a show on, and that's the fight they want. And I'm like, as you can probably hear from my voice, I'm frustrated that it's not James this next weekend. I am frustrated. It was a big fight for him, for me. At the end of the day, he gets to rectify his last performance in Dublin, where, in my opinion, he fought very well against Patchy Mix, but unfortunately didn't get the result. He was able to come in there and write that wrong off, and then I was able to come in and try and take that number next to his name. That's what I wanted. That's the only thing that I wanted with James. But obviously that's going to have to be put on hold for the minute. But like I said, we can't look past Jordan. Jordan is the next test. He's the guy who he's been taken so serious just because he's like a sort of, I say this, last minute, because it's not last minute, 6 weeks notice we've had, to any other ideal fighter. That's plenty of time for a camp, but we got to concentrate on Jordan and get the result against Jordan, and then we can scream, shout, and cry about having the fight with James Gallagher.
So in sort of a positive aspect, though, now that you're not fighting an Irishman, you can kind of almost be a little bit of like the hometown hero. I mean, I know you're not Irish, but you're fighting an American. So do you feel like maybe you're going to have the crowd on your side in that aspect?
Well, Amy, I think on the top of my head, I think there's roughly maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more, about 200 Welsh guys coming to watch the fight. So to be honest, Wales is like a 45-minute flight away from Dublin. It's nothing, You guys in the States, I feel sorry for when you're flying from Pennsylvania to Vegas. They're the big flights. But for us, it's not a long way. I think my dad for one of my UFC fights actually drove from Wales to Ireland. It's not that far. But yeah, we'll have plenty of support there. I fought there in February, and I felt that crowd there in February, and it's nothing like you've ever seen before. The place is electric, and so that when they said this time, look, would you want to fight in Dublin again? It was a no-brainer. I'll happily fight in Dublin again just to experience that sort of crowd, Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting back out there, and hopefully we're able to kind of gain on the momentum like we did back in February, where we had a third-round TKO, and maybe go in there and get another stoppage or Jordan Winski, but that will just depend on how we feel on fight night and how the fight actually goes,
And I don't want to keep you too long, but I do have two hopefully fun little prediction questions for you. You have two former opponents that have big fights coming up, and I'm curious if you can give us your take on how you think they'll do. First would be Danny Sabatello. He's going to be fighting Raytheon. I'm curious, having fought with him, how do you feel like he's going to do in that fight?
Yeah, that's a good fight. To be honest, he surprised everybody in this tournament. I think he was put in there as a wild card fight. Won that one, come into the quarterfinals, fought a really tough Leandro Higo, won that one, and now all of a sudden he's fighting for that interim title against Rafael Stotts, and Sabatello's really good. He's got a one thing, but he's really good at doing it, and being in there and feeling that, like, don't get me wrong, I didn't feel like it was 100% me in there, but take nothing away from what he's good at doing. It's going to be a tough fight. And I do feel like with that specific fight, it's who is able to dictate their game plan off. I think that Danny Sabatello, once he's in a rhythm, he's very, very difficult to get out of that rhythm. So hopefully Stoss will go out there and kind of not head hunt so much. Like obviously when he goes in and tries to knock this guy's head clean off, that's where Danny's the most dangerous. So be really sort of safe, play it safe, counter wrestling, because Stotts is a high level wrestler himself. But that tournament is just, if you give me $100 down and said, look, put money on who you think is going to win that tournament, I'd still be sitting here 3 weeks later not sure who's going to win. It's that close. And for a fighter being outside the tournament and having that as a point of interest, it excites me, man, to see who's going to fight for the belt next and who's going to be outside the top 10 next,
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. It's a great tournament. And then I got another one, Aljamain Sterling and TJ Dillashaw. I know it's not Bellator, but I'm wondering if you have some thoughts on that fight.
Yeah, like I'll be honest, I was one of them guys who wrote Aljamain off, and I've probably done that the most of my career. Even our fight, I kind of wrote him off, and he just gets better and better, man. And I think if he's able to dictate his game plan and get like a sort of wrestling heavy sort of fight, I think he can beat TJ. I really, really do. Obviously, TJ's striking is electric, and working with Dwayne Van Ludwig has improved his career, his striking career dramatically. I just think that the safest game plan for Aljo to do is to go out there and wrestle from the get-go and turn it into a sort of grappling contest, even like he did against Jan. Wrestle just to take the back and hold the back just to win each round. I think, yeah, okay, from a fan point of view, it's super exciting, but he's going to win that fight. And look, I like to see Aljo win that fight. Obviously, from a personal point of view, at the end of the day, losing to anybody in this game can be frustrating, but it takes a little bit of sting out the sort of stab once he's a UFC champion. So yeah, I'd like to see Aljo pull that one off. The Sabatello and stuff is a bit tougher to kind of sort of predict, but yeah, I'd like to see Aljamain win that fight. And look, I think after that, he's not a massive guy, but I think he's got a shot at going to featherweight if he really wanted to. But that just depends on Aljo, But yeah, that's also exciting. I'm intrigued to see how that unfolds.
Awesome. And I guess my last question for you, if you can give me a prediction for your fight, how do you see it going?
Look, it's going to be a tough fight. I want to build that momentum from back in February where I fought Kershaw Kakarov and got the third round TKO stoppage. At the end of the day, we don't get paid for overtime in this sport, so we want to get in there and get the job done. But I see a stoppage. I do see a stoppage. I don't think it's going to be very easy to get, but I do see a stoppage. Whether that's by TKO or by sub, it doesn't bother me. We're just going to take what we can get, and knowing me, I probably won't make the job easier for myself, but we'll see what happens. But it's a tough fight. Expect some claret either from me or him, but it's going to be a tough one for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a good
No
rest.
problem, Amy. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.